Documentary investigating the Sussexes titled Where Did the Money Go? Here's a clip.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were once the darlings of the nation.
They were this fabulous royal family, completely valuable to the UK and beyond.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex!
When 22 people walk out on a job, it's not a coincidence. It's a crisis. And when those 22 people all walked out on the same two bosses, that's a red flag you can see from space. We're talking about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Once the darlings of royal rebels and celebrity media, now the faces of something no one wants to say out loud, a failing brand. Because behind every glossy photo, every inspirational quote, and every reinvention is a trail of resignation letters, NDAs, and a growing sense that no one wants to work with them anymore. How did it get this bad? Let's break it down.
Well, it was a Channel 5 investigation as to the state of the Sussexes' finances. Now, we know they didn't move to a two-bedroom cottage somewhere in the middle of nowhere. They're living in quite a large mansion in Montecito.
Over the last 5 years, Meghan and Harry haven't just lost a few assistants. They've gone through an entire staff army. 22 high-level professionals, gone. Not interns, not temps. We're talking seasoned experts, PR managers, communications directors, heads of strategy, global brand advisors, people whose LinkedIn pages are longer than most resumes. Each one arrived with a glowing press release. Words like visionary, trailblazer, industry titan were thrown around like confetti. But before you could even learn their names, they were gone. Quietly, without fanfare, absorbed into the same mysterious black hole where their projects, campaigns, and results seem to disappear. It's not a trend anymore. It's a pattern, and a really bad one.
And one of the things that Prince Harry made very public when he left the royal family, one of the things that he was quite disgruntled about was the fact that his father basically cut him off financially. So really they were in a state where they had to make a lot of money.
One of the most baffling parts of this story is how it keeps happening. Because they're not hiring amateurs. These are people pulled straight from the top of the industry. Spotify, Netflix, major PR firms. They're the kind of people companies fight to recruit. And yet, they're gone faster than you can say strategic pivot. It's like watching someone build a dream team only to bench the entire lineup before the first play. Something's not right, and it's not the talent. There's an old saying in business: if one person leaves, maybe it's them. If everyone leaves, it's probably you. And yet, Harry and Meghan don't seem to see the problem.
He blundered in a video and said, the Netflix deal was an idea that was pitched to him, and he had to basically pay for his family's security, which I'm sure if you're giving the Sussexes $100 million.
Let's talk about one of the strangest moments in this whole mess, the twerking video. Yes, you heard that right. In an effort to elevate Meghan's new lifestyle brand, one of their agencies allegedly pitched and got approved a twerking clip. This was meant to help position the brand as premium, aspirational, luxurious. Instead, it became the final straw for several staffers who reportedly left shortly after that meeting. Because if you're being asked to sell jam jars and hand creams with TikTok energy in a brand that's supposed to scream modern royalty, something's seriously off. And the worst part? It wasn't just the idea. It was that someone greenlit it. Which raises a bigger question. Who's making the calls? And is anyone saying no behind the scenes?
A dollar deal, you're not happy to hear that the people already took it just so they could pay for lifelong security. But they were in a state where they had to make money, and they had to make money fast. It also explored the state of their finances.
Now here's where things take a turn. Because rather than stepping back and reassessing, Meghan and Harry seem committed to blaming literally everyone else. Staff walkouts? Must be internal sabotage. Failed PR? That's the media's fault. Projects that flopped? Oh no, those weren't failures. They were pivots. This pattern of deflection has defined the Sussex brand for years now. They've positioned themselves as victims of the palace, of the press, of betrayal. But at some point, the public stops buying it. You can only play the misunderstood genius card for so long before people start asking, maybe you're just not good at this.
Meghan Markle's estimated net worth from her work from Suits and her lifestyle brand was about £5 million. And we know that Prince Harry was left inheritance by his late mother, Princess Diana, as well as the Queen Mother.
Every time a high-profile staffer walks out, it costs. Severance packages, legal agreements, confidentiality clauses. Add that up across 22 people, and you're not just dealing with PR fallout. You're looking at financial hemorrhage. Running a team like this isn't cheap. And what's more troubling is that it's not producing any lasting results. The Sussex brand seems to spend more on apologies, consultants, and spin than on actual creation. Which raises the question, how long can that last?
Estimates around sort of between 20 and 30 million pounds. But we know that they have quite an expensive mortgage on their house. Their security is quite a hefty sum as well. Annually, we know that Prince Harry doesn't really go to many places without a 4-car convoy.
Archewell was supposed to be the foundation of their post-royal life. A non-profit, a media company, a movement, or maybe all three? No one really knows. That's the problem. Despite years of branding, millions in funding, and countless media pushes, Archewell has produced very little. A podcast or two, a couple of charity visits, some blurred out photos on Instagram. But in terms of measurable output, there's a void. And the people who were hired to build it? Most of them are long gone. Some left quietly. Others were reportedly pushed. But what they left behind was confusion and a brand with no clear identity.
So it's just kind of exploring what's next, how dire their finances is. I'm sure they have a lot of smart investments that is probably paying for a lot of their daily upkeep. And I don't think that financially they're going to be in much trouble.
If there's one thing Meghan and Harry have mastered, it's the art of the grand announcement. New initiative, new brand, new vision. But here's the catch. The follow-through almost never comes. Spotify deal? One podcast, and done. Archetypes? Quietly ended. American Riviera Orchard? A name, a label, and radio silence. It's like they're addicted to the dopamine hit of public attention, but allergic to the actual work. The moment it gets tough, they vanish, rebrand, restart. And the industry is starting to notice.
From back in the days, we stand, look at Cameron, you're stirring something. I didn't necessarily want to do that, and I didn't want a reality show. And so the only way to feel as though you were still in conversation with me, I felt, was I had to be talking to the people in the room with me.
Here's where things get serious. Because it's not just about flopped launches or confused branding anymore. It's about reputation. In Hollywood, in tech, in media, people talk. When this many professionals walk out of one organization in such a short time, it doesn't stay quiet. Whispers turn into warnings. And soon, the most talented people simply stop answering your calls. Some insiders speak of micromanagement. Others mention chaos. Some say Meghan demands control over every detail, even if it contradicts the experts she hired. Whatever the truth is, the outcome is clear. No one wants to stay. And when your brand becomes known for dysfunction, it's nearly impossible to bounce back. This isn't how it was supposed to go. Harry and Meghan had everything. Public sympathy, a global audience, media deals, and a fresh start. They had the rare opportunity to build something new, away from royal rules, on their own terms. But instead of building, they burned. Instead of listening, they controlled. Instead of collaborating, they dictated. And now, after 5 years, we're left with a crumbling brand, a revolving door of resignations, and a public that's more confused than ever about what Harry and Meghan actually stand for. The irony? They set out to escape the monarchy, but ended up replicating its worst parts: secrecy, spin, and disconnection from reality. At this point, it's no longer about being liked. It's about being taken seriously. And that starts with one thing they've avoided all along: real accountability. Until then, the show goes on. The announcements will keep coming. The staff will keep leaving. And the brand, once filled with promise, it'll keep sinking, one glossy headline at a time.